Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing a review of a horror film from South Korea, Korean language English subs, released in the year 2011, directed by Ji-hoon Kim, and this film is called Sector 7. And the story to Sector 7 is as follows. On an isolated oil rig platform, Hae-jun works as the equipment manager for a small but dedicated crew. The region of sea called Sector 7 represents their last hope of finding oil. After an undersea expedition goes horribly wrong, other crew members begin to turn up dead. One by one, their bodies seriously mutilated. What the few survivors soon discover is a transparent underwater creature they had encountered once before. The viral monster infiltrated the ship through the drilling pipe and has been feeding on the crew to survive. Hae-jun and her colleagues' frantic fight for survival begins. So the movie takes place on an oil rig. Hae-jun is the main character. She is an equipment manager, and they are put onto this rig that is on a section of the sea known as Sector 7. So on this oil rig, there's a crew. They're all very good friends, and they are not finding any oil. So the expedition has been deemed a failure, and they are being told to go home. So on the eve of going home, Hae-jun is determined to find some oil, so she says he's not leaving. So her uncle comes onto the oil rig and tells her that he can get her a few more months in order to make this expedition a success. So Hae-jun is happy about this, but her happiness turns to terror as they realize that there is a creature on board this oil rig and it's picking them off one by one. And the creature has something to do with what they have been doing as far as drilling is concerned. So I'm not going to tell you what that is, but soon they end up being picked off one by one, and whether or not Hae-jun and her uncle can get out of this ordeal in one piece, that's something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now, my thoughts on Sector 7. This is definitely a movie that was okay. It was entertaining, but it should have been a lot better than it actually was, because the biggest problem with Sector 7 is that it's a very contrast sort of film, in that you've got pockets of the film that are completely ridiculous and go against all the good things that the movie has going for it. Now, to start off with, I thought the setting of the oil rig was fantastic. It reminded me of films like Alien and The Thing. When I say The Thing is because at the start of the movie there is a little bit of confusion as to why these bodies are appearing, and before they know it's concerning the creature, they think that there might be a killer on board this oil rig. So you've got the paranoia of The Thing. Then you've got the atmosphere of Alien, where you've got this creature picking them off in a very, very dark and moody sort of atmosphere on the oil rig. You feel that their whole entire universe is concealed to this oil rig, and that help is so many kilometers away because it's in the middle of the ocean. So you've got all of these standard sort of questions that you ask in a horror film. Why didn't they just get help? Why didn't they just escape? Because they're stuck and confined to this small environment, they can't do anything else. So that reminded me of Alien, where they're in space, and you've got The Thing, where they're set in the snow. So it does pay homage to classic horror films, but having said that, it doesn't rip them off. It does have its own flavour. So I like that aspect of it. I thought it was a very moody and atmospheric film up until the second half. Now, where the movie also succeeds is in its characters. I thought there was a slow build-up that didn't ruin the film. Now, so initially I thought, slow build-up was going to ruin it. But the thing I liked about it is that, yes, it's a slow build-up as far as a creature feature is concerned, but the build-up, the character development was done very well, because the thrilling aspect isn't always connected with the creature. There are some things that go wrong on the oil rig that really had me on the edge of my seat. So the character development, the slow build-up, by the time you get to the creature, you feel as though you haven't wasted any time, and that the time that was used was well spent, because although it was thrilling, you still get a very deep connection with these characters. When the bad things start happening, you like them. Now, that is down to the very good humour in it. It's not a horror comedy, but there is humour in the movie that lightens the mood a little bit. So it doesn't take itself seriously. So when the bad things start happening as far as negatives are concerned, it doesn't derail it, because it never really wants to be a serious movie. But it should have been a serious movie, because it had grounds to be a fantastic film. But unfortunately, the little niggling negatives prevent it from being a great movie, prevents it from coming out and basically saying, look at me. So apart from the characters, the great setting, I thought the suspenseful levels were through the roof. When you don't see the creature, that's where it's at its best. I thought it was far more terrifying, leaving that to your imagination. There was a strong sense of claustrophobia. There are some very good shots of the lonely corridors. You hear a lot of noises, so it is a feast on your senses. You see these shadows, movements in the shadows. You see these low growls, and it's very much audio and visual based. But then, as I said, when it gets to the fact that you can see the creature, that's where it starts going a little bit downhill. So you've got the contrasting difference between a very atmospheric, slow psychological build-up. Then you've got the creature feature, which kind of gets ridiculous. It feels like it's being sensationalized, if that's a word, to the point where it's exaggerated, where it just feels like a flat-out action film. And that's not too bad considering it is supposed to be an entertaining movie, but the problem there lies in the fact that it's completely different to the build-up. So it's a very contrast. The differences are very, very noticeable, and it feels like some pockets of the movie don't belong. And it kind of doesn't completely derail the film, but it prevents it from being a great movie, and that's where the biggest disappointment comes in. Because cinematography is excellent. The CGI effects were not too bad. I mean, there are films out there that are a lot worse. So if you're a fan of creature features and you don't like the fact that they use CGI, then maybe this is not the film for you. But if you like the way that the monster looked in The Host, which is a very good South Korean creature feature, then you're going to like the way that this movie looks, because they do look similar. So there are moments in it where it does look very fake, but fortunately, as far as CGI is concerned, it doesn't really look terrible. It's not pathetic CGI, so that was something I like. It actually shows that it is a high-budget movie, but I thought it looked a lot better when you didn't see it. There's a little twist where you get an insight into the upbringing of this creature, which I'm sure a lot of people are going to appreciate. For me, I thought it was okay. It doesn't really ruin anything. It's not really that ridiculous, but I thought, sometimes no explanation can be just as good. So, yeah, I mean, that was a nice little inclusion. So what you get in the end of Sector 7, it does pay homage to films. You'll get glimpses of other movies in it. But as far as a great film is concerned, I can't help but feel that this one was a missed opportunity. I am going to recommend it because of the fact it is very moody. There are some great scenes of suspense, and I thought there were some pretty funny moments, and you really get a connection with the characters. So that's what I really liked about the movie, but those negatives prevent it from being a great film. But having said all that, I'm still going to give this one 3 stars, and it's coming recommended. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.